Hello everyone, and welcome to the Black Show here. Hope you keep yourselves fairly well. Going to try and keep this one fairly short and concise as we've hit the month of February. And the main piece of news, as far as today's news is concerned, is of course talking about Resident Evil Requiem. We have just 3 weeks left until the game's release on February 27th. I do still indeed have time booked off in order to cover this game on its release, which I will be doing so. If you're not aware, there has been some bits and pieces come out for the game recently. Lots of merchandise and stuff. There was like a showcase about a week or two ago, which didn't really show anything off except like the watches and then like the car and shit. It was what it was. There was a trailer also recently that came out as well. A couple of days or so ago, kind of like some live action stuff. A short thing, about like 3 minutes long, to do with Requiem, bits and pieces like that, but not a whole lot of extra information regarding what's going on with the game itself. I have spoken a bit about Requiem, and the fact that I do have a couple of worries about this game. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I think this is going to be a bad game, because I don't think that's going to be the case. I feel like with titles kind of like this, I feel like there's almost too many eyes and too many people kind of operating these sort of things for it to be a bad game. But I am concerned that the bloom is kind of coming off the rose of Capcom, who have had an incredible period of several years with games and such. But, you know, maybe unpopularly, as I've said previously, I think the bloom was starting to come off of Resident Evil 4 Remake, a game that, while I think fundamentally was very well made, I just don't think it really struck the right chords. I don't think it really kind of appealed how it should have done. And I don't think it was a game that I think struggled for its soul. My thoughts of Requiem coming into this are that I think the game will play probably okay, but I'm not hugely hyped for it. You know, given this is Resident Evil 9, like, I'm not coming into this with, like, a mass of excitement. I'm not coming to this with, like, oh my god, I really can't wait. Like, I'm waiting for this game to give me a reason to kind of, like, really appeal to me and kind of pull me in. And I think part of that as well is that the bar has been pretty high outside of that, you know, with Silent Hill 2 Remake was a very well put together game. Silent Hill F, even if it wasn't quite your flavour, I think was a very, very good game. Even if it was a bit slower to start. Once you got into the meat of it, I think fantastically put together. And so Resident Evil 9 does have a bit of competition to deal with. And I don't know if it's going to meet it or not. It's I was chatting with some folks on our Discord server, and the best way that I had to describe this game is that it felt like we were getting ready for Resident Evil Revelations 3. And I mean that in the sense that it'll be a decent game. I'm sure it will be fun to play with, and I'm sure it will have its own kind of interesting story going on. But how influential is it going to be in the wider grand scheme of things? And how much kind of authority it will command in amongst its genre, I think is, at this moment, highly debatable. We'll see when the game comes out. I'm attempting to not be, you know, unnecessarily negative coming into this, which a couple of people perhaps argued that I was with Resident Evil 4 Remake, but I do think that the points and concerns that I raised in that game were justified. We'll see what happens when the game comes out in 3 weeks, and we'll see how it plays out. I've got a couple of decisions to work out as well. Do I want to play the game first person, third person? Do I want to play it at hardest difficulty? Do I not? I'll have to kind of see how I feel probably on the day. But regardless, yeah, I want this game to, like, kind of take me and say, you know what, I am actually really good. And for me to say, actually, you know what? This is a lot of fun to play. I'm enjoying it a lot. But I'm not walking to this convinced that that's going to be the case. We'll see. So, with 3 weeks to go until the game gets released, that gives us a chance to do do some extra bits and pieces until then. Now, over the past month or so, we have been playing through the Siphon Filter series, specifically Siphon Filters 1 and 2, courtesy of a Patreon request from Brittleback, and me kind of fulfilling some previous stuff that I had promised on the Patreon, and finally getting through to completing. Siphon Filter has been an intriguing series to play through, a bit rough, a bit raw, the Super Spy series, which I think actually possibly plays better when it's just action. But we played through the first game, and then have gone through the second over the past week or so. I hadn't planned on doing any more of this series. The original request from Brittleback was to do just simply the first two games. But when we did get through the second, and I did spend some time talking about Siphon Filter 3, which came out in 2001. It was the last release on the PlayStation 1. And there were quite a few comments on the last video saying if I was interested or was going to be playing Siphon Filter 3. I'm going to be honest, it was more than I expected, which I do appreciate. It's nice to hear that feedback. And I figured, you know what? What the hell? We'll do it. Starting from tomorrow, I'm going to be starting recording the game of Siphon Filter 3, finishing off the trilogy. The game isn't quite a clear sequel in such. A majority of the game kind of revolves around, like, flashbacks. Although the game does complete the trilogy off in the last sort of sections of the game. But yeah, I and ahed about if I actually wanted to play this or not, but a lot of you guys asked about it and said, are you going to play it? And I was like, you know what, sure, we'll do it. So we will be finishing Siphon Filter 3 before Resident Evil Requiem comes out. That does mean I still intend to be doing Spyro 2, but I will look to get that done the other side of Requiem. It will still be on the to-do list, but people power spoke, and I was like, you know what, sure, we'll sign off the trilogy, it'll be fine. Outside of that, the only other thing that's been going on mainly on the channel has been Twitch. I have been streaming on Twitch weekly on generally Saturdays, Saturday afternoons UK time, and we have been playing through Fallout 3. We are into 7 streams of the run. We don't have that much long left to go, actually. Well, we spent a couple of sessions going on the Grand Wasteland tour with our character HQ, that is capital H, capital Q, venturing through the Capital Wastelands. And it's been a fun old trip, actually. We went back onto main quest line here on session 7, and now we're about to get to work rebuilding Project Purity to bring fresh water to the wastelands, and all the fun and games that is going to entail. I do intend to have Fallout 3 completed by the end of this month. I will be streaming this Saturday with session 8 of that, and then the next 2 stream sessions 9 and 10 will be on Friday instead of Saturday, due to scheduling conflicts. I'm busy on those weekends. I don't have the availability, so we're doing on Friday instead. And by that point, we should probably be finished with the game. I'm not going to be doing any of the DLC for the series, despite the fact that DLC Fallout 3 is actually pretty decent. It's just going to make the series go even much longer, and I do want to kind of keep the train rolling, and looking to start something fresh up in March. But it has been very enjoyable. It's been really cool to play. We've had a lot of fun moments. We've had some crazy moments of violence, quite frankly. But it's been really enjoyable. Although I do have to occasionally remind myself that this is one of the best games ever made, as I see ants getting stuck in the ground. It's nothing's perfect, you know, that's the way it goes. If you have missed any of the content of this, it is being released as well, brought over to YouTube. All of these sessions, all the content is up on YouTube, so you can watch it at your own leisure if you need to do some catching up as well. As regards to what I look to be doing from March onwards, I haven't fully decided at this moment. There are a couple of games I've got my eyes on doing. Some longer, some shorter. There is also... We might have a little delve into some Resident Evil as well. One of the things that has been rumoured going about as of recent, with Requiem coming out, is that there might well be a remake of Code Veronica coming out at some point in the near future. And I sat back and wondered, when was the last time I played Code Veronica? And it turns out it was 6 years ago here, when I went and did a live run, and I went and did it live broadcast as well. One of the most challenging runs of a Resident Evil game I have ever played was the Code Veronica knife run, because some of the boss fights are just outrageously brutal for trying to do this. But we did eventually succeed despite much pain and misery. And so it's been that long. I do have a soft spot for Code Veronica. I actually think it is a pretty fun game. I think it's well put together. It has a couple of flaws to it, I suppose, but I think there's a lot of cool things going with it, and it might be fun to make a revisit of this. Just kind of, casual run through, remembering times of happiness, joy, and laughing at Albert Wesker's bizarre vampire laughing, which I can never quite figure out the reason he went and chose that for a direction, but what the hell ever. But other than that, that's pretty much all there really is to it at the moment for the channel. Obviously, Requiem is going to be the big point on YouTube. We'll be doing nothing but this for the run. I don't know if I will do more than one run in this game. It's going to have to give me a reason perhaps to do so. And obviously, I don't know how long it's going to take, but I get a feeling Requiem could be a pretty meaty game. They tend to be nowadays as well. I mean, even like Silent Hill F, like the initial run of that was like 30 videos or something. Like these games get pretty long now, which, I'm not necessarily complaining about, but something that you got to bear in mind, especially from a content point of view. But we'll see how things go. There might also be some slight changes to my scheduling come the next sort of 4 to 6 weeks. I will let you guys know more about that if that ends up being a thing. But yeah, we'll see how we play out. But otherwise, hopefully you'll be around for Requiem. I do hope and want this to be a good game. I'm just not convinced how good it may or may not be. I want it to prove me wrong and to be a really, really engrossing experience. But it feels like there's a lot of expectation that it's got to meet, and I don't know how high this game can jump over that bar. We shall see. Take care, everyone. I'll see you then.